Do you have things in your life that are just undone? All kinds of little unfinished tasks? Are there things that you feel like, man, if I were to just follow through just a little bit more, I would have more of a sense of completion, of accomplishment? There are a lot of these in our lives, aren't there? Little foxes is what ruins the vineyard. We look around and we see all the different tasks that we have that have left undone. Well, it's a theory out there of what happens when you don't take care of the little things and big things come your way. If you haven't heard about the broken window theory, well, I say, come on, cousins, and let's pod about it.
In a world fraught with confusion, one man will break his silence. There was only one man for the job.
Come on, cousins, let's pod about it.
Welcome to the funkiest show this side of the Pecos, baby. Yes, back again, word to the wise, with the exclamation point. Who me? I'm just a nobody trying to tell everybody that they can be somebody. The name is Terry Patrick, and I am your tour guide and liaison for this journey that we're taking called life. Man, we do have a great show for you guys today, and an even greater reason why I do what I do. Yes, I do this for Pops and Fat Mama. Got to give it up to those who brought me into this world and told me, you better take care of the little things, because when the big things come along, you won't be able to handle it. Yes, I got that advice early in life, and it's true. You ever heard of the broken window theory? The broken window theory is a powerful and yet poignant theory that is out there. It's been out there, I think, since 1982. Okay. And it was invented by a gentleman, I want to say his name is James Q. Wilson and George Kelly. Two people, James Q. Wilson and George Kelly. 1982. They used that as a metaphor for a neighborhood that is in disorder or on the verge of being dilapidated. What happens is simple. A person takes a rock and he throws it and he breaks a window. And a person comes along and say, man, that window is broken. I'll fix it and put a new window in. And the neighborhood flourishes. That person that threw the rock must hold their own self accountable. I mean, their own self. But what happens when that person picks up a rock, throws it, break that window, and no one fixes it? Well, here's what the theory says. The theory says if no one fixes that broken window and it stays broken, the next person will come along, see a broken window, see a rock, and say, might as well break one myself. They pick up a rock and throw it and break another window, and now you got two. This continues until you have people who don't usually throw rocks, who do not break windows, and say, no one cares over here. So I too will pick up a rock and I'm going to throw it and I'm going to break yet another window. Now you got three broken windows. And now weeds start to accumulate, maybe some graffiti. And after a while, you see people starting to hang out over there committing crimes in this broken down area. Some of them are not even from that area. They're from another part of the town, but they come over there to your part or where the window is broken and do their dirt there and then go back home. You might see some drunkenness where people are hanging out in front of the liquor store. Come on, cousins, somebody help me out. You ever pulled up in front of a liquor store and so many people standing out front make you a little reluctant to be able to go inside? It hurts the business owner, all the people that are hanging out. And there are some of them that have been there since high school, still hanging out in front of the same liquor store during a Cabbage Patch with dirty khakis and a squeegee. And as a customer, man, I don't know if I should go in, but if you do, there will be some panhandling that will happen. Hey man, let me get $1. Let me get a couple bucks. I once had a person tell me what I'm gonna do with $1. What I'm gonna do? I said, man, you asked for $1. I gave you $1. I didn't have to give you nothing. Okay? You asked for $1. I gave you $1. He looked at me like, what I'm gonna do with $1? My goodness, just the balls and the audacity and just the brashness of some of them. You got to go in there and make a purchase and come out. Eventually, that area starts to go down. It starts looking tacky. It starts looking run down to the point where it's a slum. And then you start seeing prostitution, maybe, but selling weed, selling drugs, selling fentanyl, selling cocaine, selling heroin. They're selling all kind of illicit drugs. So that brings other people, another element to that neighborhood. To eventually, know what happens? The good businesses, they leave. I can't do business here. So they pack up their establishment and they go off to someplace else, greener pastures. And what happens to that abandoned store now that all the people were hanging out? They have nowhere other to go. Well, sometimes violent crimes start to happen. You might be seeing assault. You might see someone get jumped on or maybe even stabbed. To eventually, someone's going to get killed over there. And when they do, they'll find their body over there by this abandoned building with all those broken windows. Now, this is the theory. Now, it is also a metaphor, but here's what happened. I want to break it down. I want to make sure it is right. See, what it did was had a big impact when it came out in 1982, and it was New York that first implemented the broken window theory. They had a police commissioner, hard-nosed guy. Yes, William Bratton. I don't know if you guys remember Bratton from New York. He said that the broken window theory, first thing we got to do is clean up the subways. Get the graffiti off the wall, sweep this place up, and start cleaning it up. He said people will act differently when it is clean. And we start to scrub it up, and they did. They went after the subway system first. And they start cracking down on anybody doing any little misdemeanor. I mean, jaywalking. They would just frisk you, and that's what they did. They had the chokehold, too. They were putting the chokehold on people, and some people died in the police hands over something that is minor and minuscule. That's the broken window theory. Because see, he felt, Bratton did, that they were responsible for the reduction in crime inside of New York because they went on this crusade, so to speak. He and others convinced that the aggressive order maintenance practices in the New York City Police Department were responsible for the dramatic decrease in crime rates. But you know what happened? They started treating people that had minor offenses like they had committed a major crime. Yes, they did. They would catch a person with one single joint and treat them like they were a murderer. Jump on them, beat them down, lock them up, book them into central booking, maybe even send you off to prison somewhere over one marijuana cigarette. So when they caught someone who was committing major crimes, believe me, they laid the hammer down in New York. Here is the problem with that. When you start treating everyone and all crimes are equal when they are not, then that is discrimination. Why? Because they start looking at certain people. You look like a rock thrower. You look like you would bust a window. And just that assumption is what they went on. That problem escalated to the point where they were just frisking and arresting people by the thousands. Families started moving out of those areas too. The families are gone. The business left, and the family said, we got to get out of this area. They started moving out. Teenagers, they started gathering around corner stores. And then they would ask merchants, go inside the store, maybe start stealing. The merchant would come out and tell them move, and then they would mouth off to the merchant. Made it hard, so he had to leave. Yes. And you might see people inebriated, sleeping in front of the liquor stores, sleeping it off. And it made hard for customers to have to come in. You don't want to have to step over a vagrant. So you just go to another store. So those stores left. What happened to the neighborhood that they left behind? Here's my theory. When you take those trivial behaviors, it makes you look at the world with a broader and broader swath. It is like paint all the people of a certain hue, of a certain color, of a certain pigmentation as criminals. They would treat all of us, which is hard to do. And so, you had to make sure. I always like to take this back to leadership development. Think about it. The broken window theory inside of a plant, a warehouse, or a large store, large facility, okay? And you are a leader, or you want to be one, so you start watching what the leaders do. What do? They started going after things like dress code. You're not supposed to have any logos or the rival companies lettering and blazing across your shirt working for the job. Yeah, McDonald's don't want you to have on a Burger King t-shirt. No logos. They make sure that they have a dress code. You should dress a certain way. So when you do not address those dress codes, they start saying, well, they're not going to do anything about it. I'll wear what I want to wear. Yes, I'll come to work with my Nike. And people see you got Nike on. What's wrong with me having a shirt that says Budweiser? Oh, you got on Budweiser. What if I want to have my neo-Nazi swastika? You can wear what you want to wear. How come I can't wear what I want to wear? You say you represent Mountain Dew. Well, this is what I represent. And it becomes a bane of your existence. All off dress code because no one's enforcing it. You didn't say anything. So know what happens? A person who usually shows up dress code compliant starts to slip and wear whatever they want to wear. They're just like that person that used to throw rocks, right? And now another person comes along who has never thrown a rock. That's that person saying, I might as well too. Company's not going to do anything about it. You know, and also some of the clothing that you put on, it could be a safety hazard. I see men, we got to stop with this sagging, hanging down and seeing all your drawers. Nobody want to see that, especially at work. And you can't work fast. You can't be efficient with your pants hanging off your backside. And they got a belt and they just strap the pants around their hip area, which is so sad that you got to tell somebody, pull your pants up. And when that happens, now you have a confrontation. Why? You lacked managerial courage, and now you want to say something. Oh, now you want to say something. It has gone too far on something just as simple as that. You know, I once had a young lady that worked for me, and she was my top performer. And she was also like a coach or assistant. You know, I would give her these stretch assignments. And I was hard on people about the dress code. I had a strong belief. You should be compliant because you're a grown woman. You're a grown man. Nobody needs to tell you, pull your pants up. Nobody needs to tell you, you're not supposed to wear that shirt. I was hard on people about the dress code. I had a strong belief. You should be compliant because you're a grown woman. You're a grown man. Nobody needs to tell you, pull your pants up. Nobody needs to tell you, you're not supposed to wear that shirt. So if you show up with it, I'm going to send you home. Because you knew. And one day, I said something to a young lady. I'm like, you know you're not supposed to wear those yoga pants with the word pink across the backside. And she looked at me, she's like, why would you say something to me when she has worn these before? She was talking about my high potential, my shining star. I looked her in the eyes and gave her instructions all the time. I never really looked at her dress code. That made me a hypocrite. She had on the same pants. When I was talking to her, the girl looked, pointed to her. I'm like, dang, it say pink right across your backside. Form fitting. You're not supposed to wear those. I had to check myself. And as a leader, sometimes you got to do that. Let's talk about housekeeping, cleaning up. Because, see, you can apply this broken window theory to more places than just the job. But I want to take a look at the job. What happens if you don't clean up and clean as you go? You know what happens? First, you start seeing little things. Yeah, little sunflower seed shells spit all over the floor. Oh, it's a disgusting little treat. They spit the shells out. Now somebody else got to come up behind you and clean them up and touch your saliva. Yes, you start seeing those little things. Who's eating the sunflower seeds? And then you start finding candy wrappers. Yes, before you know it, somebody's walking and supposed to be working, and you know they're not supposed to be eating a hot link sandwich. Right there during business hours, and it just looks totally unprofessional. Now, if you were working in a warehouse and you got these people who are violating the dress code, nobody said nothing. All of the managers and the supervisors, they're cowards. They don't have a mumbling word to say until that one leader who's always that one. Oh, you the bad guy. You the one trying to make everything hard on everybody else. Now, that one person is doing what they're supposed to do. They're doing the right thing. And because nobody else is, it make that person look like the bad guy, like the villain. Okay? He doesn't have the opportunity to tell everybody. It takes a team. And now you got folks sitting over there in the aisles having pizza party. They're sitting on top of the product that's supposed to be selling, eating pizza. Lunch is over. And they don't care if you see us, manager. Say something. Yeah, it has gone too far. The rebellion has jumped up. Here's what happens. Bear with me, cousins. I want you to really understand this. A hard-working man or woman will continue to do their job, and they will work right alongside of these bad apples. And they will continue to do what they got to do. Now they have to go out there and say something to their own peers, to their co-workers. Man, can y'all move? I'm trying to do my job here. I need that product, and you're sitting on it. Man, won't you just have a slice with us? Kick back, have some pizza. No, I'm here to do my job. I'm a grown man doing a grown man's work, making grown man wages, okay? I'm here to provide for my family, and I'm not here to play no games. Can you just move? Get out the way. Give me my product. Let me do my... Now, see, they have to do the job of the leader. What happens to that good person? What happens to that productive member of the society outside of the work? If they're the one who has to stand up for everybody else, they leave. And people don't usually quit companies. They quit their boss. Can't stand my boss. See, look at him. He's looking right at the same thing I'm looking at. And boy, you can hear a rat pissing on cotton. It's so quiet in here. He won't say nothing. And now I have to say something. Now they looking at me sideways at the time clock. Yeah, you a do-gooder. Or back in the day, they used to call them apple polishers. You know what an apple polisher is, right? That's when somebody, the kids back in the 50s and 60s, they bring an apple for the teacher. Yeah, I want to be teacher's pet. I'm the good one. I bring you an apple, teacher, so you can have some lunch with me. But then you got that one, that eraser banger, the one who's there early cleaning up the chalkboard, and he over there polishing the apple. Yeah, you got all these apples. I'ma shine up that. He gonna one up you. He gonna take the apples that you gave and polish them. That's what we used to call an apple polisher. Yeah, overachiever, do-gooder. They leave. It's like it's got to be a better way to be able to make a living, and I can't do that here because I'm gonna tell you right now, somebody's gonna get hurt, and I'm not gonna be the one getting hurt. They're not gonna jump on me out there in the parking lot because I'm doing the boss's job because he can't do it for himself. All right, they should give me the title. You don't realize you don't need that title to be a leader. No, you don't. And speaking of that, I want you guys to really, really take a look at my last podcast that I have, 5 Levels of Leadership. Oh, it talks about entry level all the way up to the pinnacle, that 5th level, which is legendary. Episode 22, 5 Levels of Leadership. You can find me on YouTube at The T Patrick, or you can find me on TikTok as well as Cat Daddy in the Mix. You know what it is. Check it out if you don't want to know what I'm talking about. 5 levels. The good ones, they will leave because an associate has expectations. That's the long and the short of it. You are expected to follow the policies. And if you don't, well, who's supposed to tell you? It's the manager. And if they lack managerial courage, well, you don't want to hold nobody accountable, then it would be you. You need to be the one held accountable. You got to write that manager up. You got to write up that supervisor. I've had to do it because I'm not going to be the only one walking over the plant and the floor telling people what is right when you've grown and you know the rules. Rules don't work unless they're enforced, right? But you can't treat every violation the same. No. Wearing a Dallas Cowboy hat to work when you're not supposed to wear it is not the same thing as making a threat of violence. One of the cardinal sins. It's not the same as robbing the company blind because you wore a hat. That's the problem with the broken window theory. They would treat both of those the same. Yeah, I just caught you initiating a fight, and now you're over there throwing fisticuffs. You're jumping on one of your co-workers right there in front of us. I treat the person with the Dallas Cowboy hat the same. I caught you. No, it doesn't work like that. Because see, when you take care of those small issues, you can be able to deal with the bigger ones. And the small issue is admitting that you lack managerial courage. Admit it, okay? You're the one. You're the one who refused to say something. Let me bring it back. I want to pull this branch down so you can be able to pluck this fruit. I want you to get this message. And if you are still here, still hanging in with me, you're about to get the jewels of knowledge. You're about to get that caveat, that word to the wise. Here it is. Do you have things in your life that you haven't addressed? You know you need to have a conversation about it, and you procrastinated, and you didn't. And now it's turning bigger. It may be a conversation that you need to have with your parents, a conversation you need to have with a sibling, a conversation you may need to have with your child, maybe even one of your neighbors. You haven't. Yeah, you let the little things go, that broken window, and it goes unrepaired. And what happens if something else comes along? See, that's where the emotional outbursts come from. You didn't deal with it, you stuffed it down. You ever heard a person say, I've had it up to here? You know what that means? You have stuffed and stuffed and stuffed, and now it's sitting right there in your esophagus, and it's about to roll off your tongue. That tongue is a powerful thing, just like the little tiny rudder on a big ship can move that giant vessel. Your tongue. From your tongue, my man. That's where you have that emotional outburst and it all comes out in one big gush. You start naming off things that people have done wrong for years. Why didn't you say something years ago? Why? Because you didn't address the broken window. And now, people who don't usually break windows will come by and do the same thing. It is the universe echoing and making you say, we have many lessons for you, but you got to learn this one first. You can't get the second message if you don't learn this first message right now. It is something that is important for you to be able to walk through life, hold your head up high, and let your nay be nay and your yay be yay. If you say yes, you should mean it. Say what you mean and mean what you say. And if you see the little things, address them immediately. Okay? Immediately. You want to make sure that you're telling yourself you have a strong sense of cohesion to be able to fix those broken windows. You also see that you can assert that into your social responsibility, whether it be a hobby or a side hustle that you may have. You may want to run for local government. Too many liars in government, all the way down to the local level. And they're not dealing with some of these broken windows. And they are giving themselves over to that space in their head. Let it go. Overlook it. It's okay. No, it's not. No, it's not. It's like you let a bald tire strand you on the side of the freeway in the pouring rain. You knew it was bald, and you wouldn't go get a new tire. Yes, it's like letting a cup, a plate, and a knife and a fork pile up into a big pile of dishes. Now it's going to take your time. Now you got to do something about it. Deal with it when it is small. It's the small issues. But don't treat everybody who offends you just the same. There are levels to this. Yes, there are. And I want you to know we break them all down right here. Yeah, we do. We break them all down right here on Word to the Wise. Oh, my goodness. Listen, it is time for me to let you guys go. And I hope you listen to this broken window theory and say, you know what? You are right. I have seen that happen before. I've let a lot of little things go in my life. And now they have become big. And now I got to deal with them. Okay? Yeah, you got a pain in your chest. You better go to the hospital, check that out before it becomes something that hospitalizes you. That's what I'm talking about. Deal with it. And I feel like, right here on Word to the Wise, we deal with a lot of things. We made a kindred spirit once again. Yes, we did. And I feel like we go way back like fat crayons and Hot Wheel tracks, baby. Like droopy diapers and Similac. I want to make sure that you guys keep tuning in. And until you do, I'm going to treat you like my sweet potatoes. I'm going to plant you now and dig you later. But first, could you...
I hope you like the podcast and you really like the podcast.
Come on, be serious.
And you really like my podcast. Like and subscribe.